I'm in search of egg tarts. Egg tarts, one of the most popular, if not the most popular Chinese pastry. Restaurants sell them, Asian supermarkets sell them, but I'm focusing on bakeries this go round. So join me as I look for the best egg tart on today's episode. So as the search begins, I'm at a place called Bread Corner in Rockville, Maryland. And they have a Taiwanese focus, I think, but they certainly sell egg tarts. In fact, they sell two kinds of egg tarts. They sell the original Hong Kong egg tart, and they serve the Portuguese egg tart. And I'm glad they do because I can try both kinds. I'm going to start with what is called the original egg tart, and sometimes this is called the Hong Kong style egg tart. This is the kind that you would normally find at dim sum brunch, and this is the one that is most well known, and it originated or was inspired by the English custard tart. And that's not unusual given Hong Kong's history as a British colony. So this egg tart usually has a crumbly short crust shell, or sometimes it has a puff pastry shell. And the one here at Bread Corner has, let me look at it, it has a crumbly short crust shell, which isn't unusual because that is, I believe, how it was originally made when it was inspired by the English custard tart. Let me try it. Here it is. Let me take it out of the tin a little bit so I don't bite into the aluminum. Oh yeah. Wow. The first thing I noticed was the filling is very eggy, but it's not too sweet. It has a kind of a looseness and a firmness about it. It kind of has a really good balance texturally, and there is some body and firmness to this short crust shell. It has a bodily integrity that kind of keeps the whole thing intact. The filling is creamy without being overly sweet. You have a presence of sweetness, obviously, but it's not. It's certainly not overly sweet. You don't have that sensation at all. And in fact, I'm going to finish the whole thing right now. Wow. I hope the other bakeries that I go to after Bread Corner has the puff pastry shell, because it'll be good to have a comparison. The great thing about these egg tarts is, they're handmade. They're not, stamped out by a machine. So each one is slightly different, and this one is, as you can see, is a little bit more brown on the rim or the edges there, and so it does look different. I don't think it'll taste significantly different, but it is good to know that it's each egg tart that you eat is individualized. They're slightly different from each other. Yeah, I mean, as advertised, it's a crumbly shell, and it's very good. Okay, I'm going to try the Portuguese egg tart next. Unlike the original egg tart that came from Hong Kong, this one originated in Macau, which is across the Pearl River Delta from Hong Kong. And Macau was a Portuguese colony. And so the egg tart there wasn't inspired by the English custard tart, but instead by the Portuguese pastel janada. So yeah, I mean, in Portugal, those egg tarts are very famous, and it would just be likely that it would end up in a Portuguese colony of Macau. And so yeah, in Macau you have the Portuguese egg tart. And I think the difference is the top obviously is different. It is caramelized. It is bruleed, I think. It also uses only the egg yolks, I think. And it doesn't have evaporated milk like the Hong Kong version. Oh. I know the color's different too. So the ones here at Bread Corner, the Portuguese egg tart seems to be lighter in color. The filling is just a tad less firm and kind of more creamy, maybe more delicate. And it's just a tad bit sweeter. The crust itself is the same kind of a short crust shell, and it has that crumbly feeling to it, just like the other one. Oh man. I would say the major difference is the texture. It is a little bit more delicate and sweeter than the so-called original Hong Kong tart I just had before this. Wow. Before you know it, it's gone because wow, you take one bite, you want a second bite, you want a third and a fourth, and it's all gone. Oh man. Is it dramatically different? I wouldn't say that necessarily, but which one is better? I mean, that's the objective of this episode. At the moment, I don't even know. They're both so good. I might have to bite into a few more because I gotta make up my mind. Which one is better? I don't know. Okay, the next spot has a very simple name. It's called Asian Bakery and Cafe, and it's in walking distance of Bread Corner. It's literally adjacent to it in the next shopping center. So I walked over there and got the next round of egg tarts. And yes, as I suspected and as I hoped, they do have egg tarts, the Hong Kong egg tart, and it's puff pastry shell. Yes, so I can compare it against the short crust shell. This is the puff pastry shell. This is what they use at the Asian Bakery and Cafe. So let me dig in and get the comparison started. Oh, wow, that is really nice. Let me take a few bites to form an accurate impression of this thing. Wow. I think the custard, the egg custard, it tastes kind of fluffier and lighter and maybe just a tad less sweet than at Bread Corner. And this flaky puff pastry, sometimes it has the tendency to crumble and kind of not hold its shape, but this one is really holding its shape really well. Yeah. I finished the first one. I got 4 of them, luckily, so I can keep on munching and keep on examining these egg tarts from Asian Bakery and Cafe. This one is really kind of structurally very, very defined. It's really firm for being a puff pastry shell. In fact, it feels more structurally sound than the short crust ones I had earlier. Wow. And it's very flaky. It has a delicateness, yes, but still it has a structural integrity to it, and it's really flaky. Wow. And the egg custard, again, is not too sweet, but there's a fluffiness and a lightness to it that I really like. Yeah, when I was growing up and eating egg tarts, it was invariably because I was eating dim sum. I had gone out to get dim sum with my family. That's the only time I would eat egg tarts, and the only time really where it was available, because we didn't have, an abundance of Chinese bakeries back in the day. And so I always had the puff pastry version. I don't remember the short crust version being readily available. I grew up thinking that egg tarts always had puff pastry because that was the most ubiquitous type. I learned much later on that there was a short crust version. That was, well into my adulthood. But when I was growing up, this is what I associated egg tarts with. This was an egg tart when I was growing up. It had a very flaky puff pastry shell. So this is the version I had most often growing up when I went to dim sum. Wow, this is good. This is really good. Wow. Okay, the third and final stop on this egg tart episode is Japong Bakery. It's just south of Asian Bakery Cafe and Bread Corner, further south down the main road 355 Rockville Pike in Rockville, and it's a Taiwanese style bakery, and they do have egg tarts there. And I asked the clerk who works in the bakery what kind of egg tart it is, and he told me it's a Portuguese egg tart. And it's not labeled as such. It just says egg tart on the tag next to the egg tarts. And in fact, the egg tart is different here in the sense that it's displayed with the other baked goods. It's not separated and in a case. So it's different in that regard. It's just simply regarded as considered as another baked good on the sales floor inside the bakery. As I'm inspecting the egg tart, or this Portuguese egg tart from Japong Bakery, I notice it has a light yellow color. It seems lighter than the other Portuguese egg tart that I had from Bread Corner. It has a bruleed or caramelized top, but it doesn't seem as dark as the other one. And so I'm looking to see if it's a puff pastry shell or if it's short crust. And it looks like it's short crust. And so let me try it out and see how it stacks up to the other one. Oh, Ooh. Wow. That's the creamiest egg custard I've had so far. It's extremely creamy and delicate. And it has a very eggy flavor. It's not too sweet, but it's very, very delicate and very creamy. It kind of wants to sag a little bit. I don't know of another word. It seems it's the most wiggly. It lacks a strong, firm structure like the other ones, or the one I just had from Asian Bakery and Cafe. And it has the most kind of oiliness or butteriness about it on the exterior, because as I touch this, my hand feels kind of greasy. The other ones didn't have that kind of sensation to it. In terms of the shell, it's hard to describe. I mean, I think it's a short crust shell, but it has a delicateness. It doesn't have a crumbliness that you would associate with the short crust shell. It's kind of almost a hybrid short crust puff pastry, but it doesn't have a pronounced flakiness about it. It doesn't have that. It's kind of hybrid. But if I had to define it or lean one way or the other, or maybe it is puff pastry, but it's just not real flaky. It seems a little confusing to me. So as I wrap up this episode and consider the egg tarts that I ate today, which one was the best? Which one was the winner? I would have to say it was the Hong Kong style egg tart from the second spot, Asian Bakery and Cafe. I think I like that one the best. The puff pastry shell was exceptionally executed. It was firm, yet it was also very flaky. It was really, really good, and it really complemented the eggy, creamy interior of that egg tart. That one from Asian Bakery and Cafe was just exceptional. It was so flaky. I mean, I like the other ones too, but it was just that one was so well executed, and it was so delicious. So that's why I picked that one. Will there be other episodes? I think so, because I still need to consider the egg tarts in DC and in Virginia. So watch out for those episodes in the future. In the meantime, take care for now. I'll catch you on my next episode. Bye-bye.